Hey, I'm Brian. Welcome back to another edition of Critics Corner. Today's episode, Cosplay Melee episode Superheroes. So I hope there's a lot of spandex in this one because, well, superheroes wear spandex. So wait, you're telling me the superheroes have no superpowers? So the superheroes are wearing armor. So we're making more foam armor? More foam armor? Don't know what to tell you guys. Today's contestants were Tawanda, Aaron, Dare, and James. I was really disappointed that Tawanda didn't get to finish. I was really looking forward to seeing her costume and what techniques she might use to sew it together with. I really had high hopes for someone actually being in the competition who was not building EVA armor. So basically the format of the show is pretty much dictating what people are going to work with. I mean, we saw Tawanda try to work with cloth and stuff, and she did a good job at it, but you know, I never saw her sitting at a sewing machine once. In fact, I've never even seen a sewing machine on that show. I've seen a table saw in the background, but I've never seen anybody use it. In order to meet the time constraints of the show's requirements for the contest, you pretty much have to work with EVA foam. So far, we've seen the contestants primarily work with EVA foam and Warbler, but those are not the only two materials in the costuming universe. The EVA foam makes great armor, which is big and flashy, and if you can put it together real fast and then do a decent paint job, which a lot of the contestants really can do very decent paint jobs, then you're going to win this competition. But if you're like a real costumer and it takes you longer than 12 hours or so to make a costume, you're not going to make it on this show because it's just not going to work. Is it me, or am I the only person that noticed that whoever wins the first round never wins the entire contest? This show really doesn't portray well what it's like to be a cosplayer or costumer because you really have a lot more time to work on your costumes. You can do a lot more detail work, and it's not all just slapping stuff together made out of EVA foam and hot glue. We work with leather a lot of the time, not to mention ABS plastics. We also use a lot of sheet metals like brass and copper. I haven't seen an actual grommet on the show yet, and that's something we use all the time. Something else that they're missing out on is you start to accumulate this pile of stuff that you have that you can pull from, that you can put as little gadgets and things like that on your costumes that you just can't manufacture out of EVA foam. Half of creating the costume is going to like thrift stores and stuff and walking around and finding interesting shaped objects and little gadgets and things like that that you can use to incorporate into your costume that you would not otherwise be able to do. The only thing I really wanted to learn more about was Dare had some weird Pebble Technique that they kind of talked about, using his pebble with the armor, and they kind of showed him doing it, but it was never explained, so then I lost interest. Here's things that the show is doing right. All the ideas so far have been original. They haven't actually cosplayed or recreated an actual cosplay thing, but I think that's a lot more to do with licensing and rights and things like that as far as the show is concerned, rather than actually trying to promote an original thought. So it's nice to see the judges wearing different clothes each episode, because in the steampunk show it seemed like the judges were wearing the same thing all the time. Aaron had the weakest costume there. He did a good job. He's just new to costuming and cosplay, so he was doing great for his experience level, but it just wasn't quite as good as the other two guys. James's costume was good. I didn't mind the white jumpsuit underneath it because that was just kind of his thing. It's kind of a red, white, and blue thing, so I thought it went really well. So I really felt Dare did deserve to win. He had a really kick-ass costume, although I would have liked to see more claws. I mean, he's a cat, come on. So I know I said that if they made costume foam armor one more time, I wouldn't watch the show anymore. However, in the trailer for next week, I saw what appeared to be a lot more cloth-oriented costumes, so I may stick around for one more week to check this out. But if it goes back to foam armor again, I really am done. So if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe, ring the bell. If you didn't like what you've seen, write some comments, let me know what's going on, push my buttons. Okay, that's it for this week. See you later.